This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 192. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week. Ow! Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop has a ton of new stuff coming to pre-order, and a little while ago, we got a sneak peek of a new faction coming to Warhammer 40k. But first, do you know about squares? Well, today's sponsor, Squarespace, can help with that. Squarespace allows anyone to design a website of their dreams with the most powerful and easiest design tools in the industry, like Design Intelligence. Using AI technology empowers anyone to build a more personalized website tailored to their needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your website and get discovered faster with integrated optimized SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. With Squarespace, it's never been easier to set up a unique online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers unmatched ability to showcase your unique wares with images, videos, reviews, add-ons, all capped with their seamless checkout tools, letting your customers use whatever system they prefer, whether Klarna, ACH Direct Deposit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in headfirst, you can go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description below to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Games Workshop has been showing off tons and tons of stuff, and this weekend, a lot of it is finally coming available to pre-order. We got some Age of Sigmar stuff, Battle Tome Slaves to Darkness with the new Chaos Sorcerer, and Abraxia, the Spear. I almost said Celestial Spear, but that's a different spear. She's got the Chaos Spear, because she's sort of bad, but sort of good. I'm not completely up to date on my Age of Sigmar lore, but what I'm really excited for is the new Spearhead Dark Oath Raiders. I have been loving Spearhead. I've been playing so much Spearhead. My current Spearheads, I've got the Sylvaneth, I've got Yndrasta's Spearhead, which is called Spearhead, so it feels like the most appropriate one to play in Spearhead. I've got the Rats, the Skaven Rats from the Skaventide box, and I have the Ogre Maw tribes. The Ogre Maw tribes are my favorite. They're so much fun, and they're really, really good. But Sean really likes the Slaves to Darkness, and it just so happens the Slaves to Darkness are easily the most powerful Spearhead. Spearhead is pretty decently balanced, but the Slaves to Darkness are super cooked. They are really, really good. But Sean has got his eye on a little Dark Oath Raiders, and hopefully these guys are a little bit more tuned down because they're naked. They don't wear super good armor with a 3-up save, it looks like to me. They're just muscly men and women with some horses. And in this box, you get 10 Dark Oath Marauders and 10 Dark Oath Savagers, which I can't quite tell the difference between the two looking at the picture on the Games Workshop web store. For some reason, 10 of them have gray base rims and 10 of them have black base rims, so I think that's given me a little clue as to which ones are which, but just looking at the pictures, I can't quite tell the difference because they all just look like barbarians with axes, but it does look like kind of a neat box. It definitely jimmies my jams and flims my flams more than the Slaves to Darkness box. The Slaves to Darkness, they're fine. They're the old Chaos Marauders from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. The Chariot is kind of cool if you build the Chaos Gorilla guy instead of the Chaos Pony. Oh, there is something to Chaos Pony, because it's funny. It's funny that there's a Chaos Pony. But I'm very hopeful that this box is going to be a little bit more balanced and tuned to the world of Age of Sigmar, and I'm just really excited for more Spearheads to come out because I have a bunch of Spearheads, but Nick and a few of my other friends all have other Spearheads, so between us, we have a little bit more than half of all of the available Spearheads, but we probably have all of the Spearheads that I'm super interested in playing or playing against. So hopefully we get some new ones. I would love Bone Splitters. If Bone Splitters come back into the game in like a really big way, I would love to get some Bone Splitters. Keratin Overlords also piqued my interest just a little bit. I mean, they already have a Spearhead box, but there's a couple of factions out there that I would love to see get some love from Games Workshop. And I would like to play against the Dark Oath Raiders because that means I'll have to play against the Slaves to Darkness less. There's some more really fun stuff coming to Age of Sigmar in the way of Underworlds boxes. We got the Underworld, the Seraphon with the 4 little dudes, and then we got the Grandfather's Gardeners, which is Nurgle. I've heard really good things about Underworlds, but honestly, I'm not that interested in playing it. I'm more interested in the models because the models are amazing. They take the units from Age of Sigmar and they just craft these bespoke characters out of those units, and they look like so much fun to paint or just to swap out. Like for some of the Spearhead armies that I want, I do want to swap out some of the unique models from the Underworlds boxes into the normal warbands. And these guys look incredible. The Seraphon and the Grandfather's Gardeners are amazing. One of the guys, he's got a pitchfork, but the pitchfork is like a little claw, like a little creature claw. It's really, really good. The one guy, his belly is a pot of like Winnie the Pooh honey dribbling out for some reason, which is so weird and gross. And there's like a fly vacuuming it up. What's not to absolutely love about this? But one thing that surprised me a little bit is Underworld's warbands tend to come and go pretty quick, but a lot of the ones that have left are making a reappearance. There are now boxes that have 4 different little warbands in each box. And that's actually really tempting because if there's like a bunch of characters that I want that are, or just like want to paint and want to have in the same box, it is nice and tempting. It would be better if they were all separate just so that I can make sure I'm not accidentally getting anything I don't want. But these boxes seem pretty darn good. There's the humans and the, what are the elves called? The Lumineth Realm Lords. And then we got the Sky Dwarves and the Sylvaneth. I do kind of want the Sylvaneth ones and the human ones a little bit, and the Sky Dwarves. The Sky Dwarves are really cool. It's really just the Lumineth Realm Lords that's like, Although these ones are better than the normal Lumineth, but then we got a box of all chaos stuff. We got the super, super cool Tzeentch guys. We got the Slaves to Darkness. We got Khorne Slaves to Darkness. And then we got the Tzeentch dudes. I actually have the Tzeentch dudes. They're pretty cool Tzeentch dudes. The goat, like the goat guy, is really weird and really fun and is the reason that I got the box. Then we got the Revenants of the Realm with the Boner Boys and the Soulblop Bleep Blops, also known as the Soulblight Gravelords by people who aren't cool. Then we got the Ghouls, the Flesh Eater Courts, and the Ghosty Goos. This one, I know, like, me and Sean both have our eyes on the Boner Boys, the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. We call them Boner Boys, but that box looks pretty darn cool. And this guy with the big, like, Executioner axe is really, really cool. And I also like the Nighthaunt. The Nighthaunt are neat with their little ghosts. And obviously the Black Coach from Age of Sigmar is one of the coolest models the Games Workshop has ever made. It is absolutely glorious. Then we got Brutes and Bandits. We got Gloomspite Gits. We got not the Cruel Boys, but the Orruk War Clans. We got, I think, the Lightning Struck Orcs or the Lightning Struck Dudes. And then we got some Ogre Ma tribes with the Ogre Ship Captain with his little band of misfit animals. These boxes are really cool. I do like the idea of them all coming back in, it would have been preferred if they were all still separate, but I do kind of get like that the Games Workshop didn't want 16 more boxes taking up the shelves, so they cut it down to 4, which is fine. I might pick up a couple of these just because they're really, really cool. And then we got a bunch of books. The books are good. Call me when they're on Audible so that I can download them and listen to them. The really big juice is that Games Workshop teased in 2025, they're bringing Emperor's Children back. Games Workshop is bringing sexy back with the Emperor's Children. And it is pretty exciting because for so long we've had almost proper cast because we've got Nurgle, we've got Tzeentch, we've got the Nurgle, Tzeentch, Khorne. I almost forgot Khorne. It would have been pretty corny if I forgot Khorne, but now we're going to get Slaanesh in the Emperor's Children. Currently, Emperor's Children exist in Warhammer 40k. You can take Fabius Bile, sometimes known as Fabulous Bill, sometimes known as the Clone Lord. You can take Fulgrim, Fulgrim is the Demon Primarch. Lucius the Eternal is the ringleader of the Emperor's Children. Technically, you can't get a Fulgrim right now, although Games Workshop for 30k just came out with a Demon Primarch Fulgrim model that looks glorious. But when we, next year, we're probably going to get a 40k, 10,000 years later Demon Primarch Fulgrim that's probably going to be an absolute monstrosity because all of the Demon Primarchs are an absolute monstrosity. I have Morty. Sean wants to get Angron, and I've been playing against Angron a lot because we play in TTS where he can bring models that he doesn't own, but Angron. Angry Ron is a really, really tough nut to crack, but I've cracked him a couple of times with my Black Templar. But I am pretty excited for Emperor's Children and just to see what they do with it, because I think it's exciting, number one, from a model's perspective, but also from a lore perspective, because 10th edition has been pretty light on the lore. You know, in the switch from 9th to 10th and the Gathering Storm books, we had the Cicatrix Maledictum, we had the Fall of Cadia, the 13th Black Crusade, that was the one that did it. But right now, Chaos doesn't feel particularly strong. Like, sure, the Warp Rift, the galaxy is split in half, and the 13th try finally did it, and Abaddon was able to defeat Cadia and get a little victory over the Imperium. But the Imperium just feels like they're so winning. Like, they've got the Knights, and they've got the Agents of the Imperium, and they've got the Sisters of Battle, and they've got the Astra Militarum. They have all of these different things that the Chaos don't have, and so it makes it feel like Chaos isn't that big a deal, even though Chaos is half of the galaxy and is this close to winning in the lore. Like, it doesn't feel like a fair fight. And so I think that bringing back the Emperor's Children would be an amazing way to progress the lore and to maybe to do some other things. I know one big thing in the lore that everyone is begging for and absolutely nobody disagrees with is bringing females into the ranks of the Space Marines. And I think Chaos is a really, really interesting way to do it, because you got Fabulous Bill, the Clone Lord. He has been working behind the scenes on creating his own Space Marines, and it would make perfect sense for him to recruit from men and women. I mean, it just mathematically makes sense. Instead of needing to grab all of the dudes from 2 different planets, you could just take everybody from 1 planet. That makes it a lot simpler, but also it would just instantly be a way to swell the ranks of Chaos Space Marines so that, you know, Space Marines, they got these new shiny things called Primaris and a bunch of new floaty tanks and stuff, but Chaos just has so many bodies to throw at the meat grinder. I think that would be a really, really cool way to do it. I think some Lady Chaos Space Marines in Emperor's Children garb would look pretty darn sick. And it would just be like an awesome opportunity to really fill out the ranks of the Emperor's Children, because there's not really anything right now. You got Lucius the Eternal, you got Fabulous Bill, and you've sorta kinda got Noise Marines. You can use the old Finecast weapon arms that don't really fit on the new, like, 2016 Chaos Space Marines. Or you can just buy tons and tons and tons of Guitar Hero Space Marine, which Games Workshop does still sell, but it's not, who's buying 10 of those guys? And then painting them all, you know, they all have the exact same guitar and the same, you know, foot up on a skull. People aren't really gonna, we need a new kit. We need a new kit for the Noise Marines and some new rules, please, because the current Noise Marine rules, they're okay. They're like a tablespoon more shooty than the regular Chaos Space Marines, but they don't feel that special. And their special ability to force a battle shock check, that's the rule that Games Workshop comes up with when they don't want to come up with a real rule and they want to go home at 5. Like, there's no juice behind forcing a battle shock check. Battle shock almost never matters, and the one time it matters during the game, you just say, oh wow, I actually failed my battle shock. All right, well, I'm gonna spend a CP to not fail the battle shock. And then nothing happens. Battle shock never matters. Everything has way too good of a battle shock check. It's not that interesting, but now that Games Workshop, if they do, which I assume they are because they've shown off 3 shoulder pads, a little weak on the show off tees, but I believe in Games Workshop. I bet they are gonna do a bunch of really, really cool stuff for the Emperor's Children. Sonic Dreadnought Games Workshop, please, pretty please, with sugar on top. I love Dreadnoughts, and I would love to see some new super cool Dreadnoughts. Sonic weapons, maybe make them like Torrent Flamer weapons, ignores cover. Maybe not ignores cover because mass beats Sonic waves, but I would be fine with not ignores cover, but maybe make it a Torrent weapon. Torrent weapons on Noise Marines actually would be really good, and I could see other factions or other Chaos Space Marine factions wanting to take a squad, because then you leave them on your home field objective, and then, you know, deep strike and things, trying to get to your backfield objective. All of a sudden you can use the Overwatch stratagem. Like, you know, there's definitely some play there, but I just want to see more models and new things for the Emperor's Children. They are the Slaaneshi version. Like, it's a whole new god that we get to play around with. And Games Workshop has been pretty quiet on Slaanesh, probably because it's really, really hard to do. I think in Age of Sigmar, they've done a great job taking a lot of like Persian influence into like just to craft them their own vibe. But in 40k, you've definitely got the weirdness of, you got the Demonettes, and then you've sort of kind of got like the glam rock Chaos Space Marines, but there's probably somewhere in the middle because Chaos is the god of excess. And so usually that either means like sexy Demonettes or it means every single primary color imaginable. But I think I bet they'll come up with something a little bit more imaginative. You know, maybe a really big, like fat guy, like a Chaos Space Marine, like lieutenant who leads, some Slaaneshi cultists would be really, really cool. And it would make a lot of sense. I feel like there's reasons for all of the different human factions to fall to different chaos gods. Tzeentch probably makes the least sense because he's like the planner. He's the guy stroking the cat and rubbing his hands together, like making up these machinations and tricks. And there's kind of no point in following Tzeentch a little bit because Tzeentch is going to do whatever he wants, and what's fun for him is probably not going to be fun for you. I know there's problems with joining any of the different chaos gods, but Tzeentch makes the least sense to me. Slaanesh makes the most sense to me. If the Imperium really, really, really sucks, and Slaanesh is all about things not sucking, then I think it just makes a lot of sense. I'm really excited for the Emperor's Children. I would love for the lore to move just a little bit. You know, we don't need to see any major humongous shifts with the lore. And Games Workshop has been pretty good about the lore not really ever changing. Even now that we have Primarchs and Demon Primarchs coming back into the setting, nothing's really different. Belisarius Call made some new Space Marines and some new vehicles, but overall, the Imperium is still beset on all sides by Xenos and heretics and fiends and mutants. Everything is awful. There is only war. The Corpse Lord Emperor is on the Golden Throne, where he's probably going to remain forever. It would be really cool. I don't know if Games Workshop should do this, but I would love to see some like speculative history for 40k, where it's like, well, what happens if, tomorrow the Emperor sneezes and dies? And then what happens to the Imperium? Or what happens if Abaddon leads a 14th Black Crusade and takes over Terra? There's so many cool things. Dorn, the Primarch of the Imperial Fist, is supposedly dead, and they have his hand in like a little glass thingy over on one of the battle barges that's defending Terra. But what if it turns out that hand is a fake, and like the Demon Primarchs have Dorn trapped somewhere, and now there's a new Great Crusade to go rescue Dorn? Like there's a lot of really fun things that they could do that might be a little bit much for the actual lore to withstand without things really changing. Tau, what are the Tau up to? There's all of these different rumors of like maybe the Ethereals are running the show and they might have something to do with chaos and they're pulling the strings and brainwashing all of the Tau race and the other auxiliary species. But maybe they're just the good guys trying to eke out a living in the galaxy, kind of like Jango Fett from Star Wars, just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. It might be cool to do like some speculative comic books or something to just kind of what could happen? What if we pulled on some of these threads and actually got to see where they lead, as opposed to just everything's bad? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Emperor's Children. Are you a Chaos player who's a little bit tempted by Slaanesh? Have you always played Emperor's Children, even though there seems to be less and less Emperor's Children stuff over, as editions go on? I like Nurgle. I collect a Nurgle army. I don't know if I could do Emperor's Children. Also, Sean has 9 Emperor's Children, and I don't like. Well, as soon as one of my friends gravitates towards something in 40k, immediately I start to not want that thing because I don't want mirror matches on my weekends. But I would like to see it happen in the lore. I could maybe do vanilla Chaos Space Marines if I could come up with like a really cool scheme. I don't know, maybe I have to mess around with it, but I'm very excited for Emperor's Children. And I'm very excited for EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find our merch, like the new Nick and Jay dice, and the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members will get a credit that they can use on our new monthly train pack or any previous pack we have ever made. For the month of November, Eons of Battle is getting chaotic with the Desecrated Engine, a war machine that can loosely be called a tank, but such an ordinary word does not properly describe the power of this demonic machine. With grasping chainsaw-tipped claws and a tummy blaster that won't quit, this unstoppable engine of chaotic might can roar its way through the battlefield. This insect-like monstrosity comes fully loaded with armor and weapon options so that it is ready to rumble with any that dares to face it. I think going on a good Chaos rant did me some good, because now I'm feeling a little bit jazzed about Chaos Space Marines. I do have a box of Chaos Space Marines sitting on my desk and might just have to crack that sucker open. Thanks for watching.